Have you ever noticed that something you do might be making others feel uncomfortable? As we get older, we often gain a sense of freedom from worrying about what others think. While this can be empowering, sometimes that same freedom leads to habits that unintentionally push people away. Others might not say anything directly, but you may sense a pause, a shift in their tone, or see them suddenly become distant. It's usually not because they don't care. It's because something in your behavior makes them feel uneasy, disrespected, or emotionally drained. This message isn't about blaming or shaming anyone. It's about raising awareness. We'll explore 10 common habits that many older adults develop unknowingly, habits that can make others uncomfortable. These aren't just harmless quirks. Repeated over time, they can quietly damage relationships with family, friends, and even caregivers. If you've ever wondered why people visit less often or why conversations feel shorter than before, these habits might explain a lot. More importantly, understanding them can help you strengthen and deepen your connections going forward. Stay with us until the end, because some of the final habits might surprise you and could change how you see your daily actions. Whether you recognize these habits in yourself or those around you, awareness is the crucial first step toward growth and positive change. Let's take an honest and compassionate look together at how small behaviors impact our relationships and how we can create more meaningful bonds. Number 1, constantly talking about your health issues. One habit that can quietly wear on those around you is when conversations repeatedly focus on your health, your aches, medications, test results, and medical procedures. Now, it's important to say that sharing how you feel is completely valid and everyone deserves to be heard, especially when facing real struggles. However, when health becomes the main topic in every visit, phone call, or casual chat, it can start to drain the energy in the room. You might not realize it, but when someone asks, "How are you?" and you launch into a detailed, lengthy rundown of your blood pressure, arthritis pain, and bathroom routine, they may not know how to respond. They might nod politely or say, "I'm sorry," but inside they can feel overwhelmed, helpless, or excluded from the conversation. When health talk dominates, the focus shifts away from genuine connection toward managing symptoms. Conversations become one-sided, and over time, people might avoid these talks, not because they don't care, but because they feel sidelined or unimportant in the interaction. The relationship starts to revolve around your body and illness instead of mutual exchange and companionship. There's also an emotional impact when health is the main topic. It can put others in a caregiving role, even if that's not what they signed up for. For example, a granddaughter wanting to share her college news ends up listening to a list of symptoms. A neighbor hoping to talk about a recent game finds themselves hearing about your latest doctor visit. These repeated moments build up and can strain relationships. But here's the truth. You are much more than your medical history. You have stories, wisdom, humor, and unique perspectives. When those qualities get overshadowed by constant health updates, others miss the best parts of who you are. That doesn't mean you should pretend everything is perfect. It means finding balance, keep health updates brief, then ask about the other person's life, share lighthearted stories or fun experiences, allow conversations to flow beyond your health. When people feel seen and valued beyond being caregivers or emotional supporters, they'll stay connected, and they'll genuinely want to hear about your doctor visits as part of a richer, more balanced conversation. Number 2, offering advice without being asked. One common reason people, especially younger family members, start to pull away quietly is when advice is given repeatedly without their request. It's understandable. You've lived longer, faced more challenges, made mistakes, and learned valuable lessons. You want to share that knowledge to help. But here's the tricky part. Even if your advice is correct and well-meaning, if it's unsolicited, it often feels like criticism. When you point out how they should handle their money, suggest better parenting approaches, or compare their relationship to one that ended badly, what they often hear is, "I don't trust you to figure things out," or "You're not doing well enough as you are." It's easy to overlook that advice, no matter how kindly intended, can come across as judgment when it isn't invited. For younger people, there's a delicate balance between sharing wisdom and trying to control. When that line is crossed too frequently, they may stop turning to you altogether. This isn't to say your input isn't valuable. On the contrary, your life experience is incredibly important and carries a lot of weight. But offering unsolicited advice can shut down meaningful conversations where your wisdom might have been genuinely welcomed, if only it had been requested. What works better? Listening attentively, allowing them to express themselves without rushing to fix things. If you feel compelled to speak up, pause and ask, "Would you like my advice, or do you just need to vent?" This simple question shows respect and lets them decide whether to invite your perspective. When they do ask, your words become impactful. Later, they might say, "My grandpa said something that really changed my outlook," or "My aunt once gave me advice I've never forgotten." Your guidance becomes appreciated, not resented. The power of holding back is that it actually increases the value of your wisdom. When advice comes from a place of invitation rather than imposition, it lands more gently, is heard more clearly, and most importantly, strengthens your relationships instead of creating distance. If you're still here and finding this useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Your support means a lot and helps us keep making helpful, inspiring content. Now let's keep going. Number 3, resisting new technology. There's a big difference between not understanding technology and outright refusing to try. When that refusal is loud, sarcastic, or dismissive, it can push people away faster than you might realize. Technology has advanced rapidly, sometimes too rapidly. Smartphones, video calls, texting, online forms, QR codes at restaurants. It's easy to feel like the world has moved on without you. Trying to catch up can be frustrating and overwhelming. It's completely normal to struggle with these new tools, and there's no shame in that. But here's where things often get tricky with younger generations trying to help. When their offers to assist are met with comments like, "This is stupid," or "I don't need this nonsense," or "Back in my day, we didn't have all this junk." Those responses can create a wall, not just against technology, but against the people trying to help. For younger people, technology isn't just a convenience. It's essential. It's how they work, socialize, and manage everyday tasks. So when it feels like you're mocking or rejecting technology, it can come across as rejecting their whole way of life. Even if that's not your intention, when every attempt to teach becomes a struggle, they often stop trying. They stop calling, stop inviting you to events, or exclude you from group chats or video calls simply because it's easier than fighting that battle repeatedly. What's powerful is the simple willingness to say, "I don't understand this yet, but I want to try." That openness changes everything. It tells your grandchildren you're willing to learn. It tells your children you're not stuck in the past. Most importantly, it shows those around you that your mind is open, curious, and engaged. Nobody expects you to master technology overnight. Just the effort to try, tapping the screen, watching how it works, learning to send a voice message, shows you care enough to stay connected in their world. That effort means far more than perfection. So next time someone offers to help you join a video call or find a restaurant online, try saying, "Sure, show me slowly." You might be surprised how far that openness takes you, not only in what you learn, but in how people feel around you. People feel closest to those willing to meet them halfway, even if it's just over a screen. Number 4, interrupting conversations with your own stories. Storytelling is a powerful way to connect. When shared thoughtfully, it can bring people together, pass down wisdom, and keep memories alive. However, there's a delicate balance between sharing and dominating a conversation. Many older adults unintentionally fall into the habit of taking over discussions by inserting their own experiences too often. You might think you're bonding. Someone mentions they're tired, and you jump in with how you used to juggle 3 jobs and still cook dinner every night. Or someone talks about their vacation, and you respond with a story about a road trip you took decades ago. While this might feel like a connection at first, when it happens repeatedly, it starts to feel more like an interruption than a conversation. Younger people want to be heard too. They want their stories to stand on their own without being quickly overshadowed or turned into a comparison. When they share and immediately hear, back when they often withdraw. Not because your story isn't interesting, but because theirs never gets a chance to fully unfold. This habit usually comes from a place of warmth and enthusiasm. You're trying to show understanding or relate by saying, "I've been through something similar," but what others often hear is, "Let me tell you about me instead." After many such experiences, they may stop sharing altogether. This can lead to shorter conversations, polite but distant replies, fewer phone calls, or more texting than talking. It's not that they don't care, it's that they don't feel truly listened to. A simple shift can change this. Pause and really listen when someone shares. Ask a thoughtful question like, "How did that make you feel?" Or, "What happened after that?" before jumping in with your own story. Let their experience breathe first. When you do share, make your story a bridge that deepens the conversation, not a detour that takes over. When people feel genuinely heard, they open up more. And when your story comes in at the right moment, they'll listen with genuine interest and warmth because it comes from a place of respect and mutual understanding. Number 5, being overly negative or cynical. There's a big difference between honestly expressing your thoughts and letting negativity dominate every conversation. Even if you believe you're just being realistic, constantly focusing on the negative can quietly push people away, often without you realizing it. Imagine a grandchild excitedly sharing news about a new job, and your response is, "They'll probably let you go within a year." Or someone announces their engagement, and you reply, "Give it 5 years and you'll see how it really goes." Someone talks about an upcoming trip, and you say, "That place used to be great before it all went downhill." On the surface, these remarks might seem like harmless honesty or dry humor, but to those who care about you, they can feel heavy and discouraging. Instead of adding to the joy of the moment, your words replace excitement with doubt. When this kind of negativity becomes a habit, it creates a reputation, one that makes loved ones hesitant to share their good news with you. People naturally seek out those who uplift them, not necessarily by offering constant cheerleading or sugarcoating, but by celebrating without criticism. When every positive announcement is met with sarcasm or skepticism, it slowly erodes the connection. Over time, those around you may feel the need to guard their happiness from your comments. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be honest, but there's a more compassionate way to express concern or share wisdom without dampening the mood. Instead of making judgments, try asking questions like, "How do you feel about it?" This approach encourages openness rather than shutting down the conversation, or balance your caution with encouragement. I know some people struggle in that field, but if anyone can succeed, it's probably you. Sometimes negativity stems from unresolved disappointment. Life's losses, betrayals, and regrets don't disappear as we age. They settle deep inside. The goal isn't to pretend everything is perfect, but to speak from a place shaped by growth rather than bitterness. One of the greatest gifts older adults can offer is light, not fake optimism, but a steady, grounded hopefulness that says, yes, life is challenging, but it's also beautiful, and you're doing okay. That kind of outlook stays with people and draws them back. So next time someone shares hopeful news, pause and notice your first reaction. If it leans towards cynicism, ask yourself if it's genuinely helpful or just a habit. The difference between being seen as wise and being seen as draining often depends on the energy you bring into the room. If you're finding this helpful, please comment number 5 below and consider subscribing with notifications turned on so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Let's keep moving forward. Number 6, overlooking personal hygiene and grooming. This topic can feel a little uncomfortable, but it's more important than many people realize. As we grow older, staying consistent with personal grooming can become harder. Tasks that once felt routine, like brushing your hair, trimming your nails, taking regular showers, or putting on clean clothes, can begin to feel exhausting. Some days it just feels easier to skip it altogether. However, whether it's a conscious decision or not, letting personal hygiene slide often affects our relationships more than we might expect. Friends or family may not say anything directly. You might not hear a single complaint, but you may start to notice fewer visits, shorter conversations, or people keeping more physical distance. It's rarely out of cruelty. It's usually because something has made them uncomfortable and they're unsure how to bring it up respectfully. Let's be real. Issues like strong body odor, stained clothing, greasy hair, or unbrushed teeth can be off-putting. They interrupt the flow of connection and make interactions more awkward. People may feel distracted, unsure of what to say, or even feel guilty for reacting. As that discomfort settles in, emotional closeness often begins to fade. That said, keeping up with hygiene doesn't mean you need to be polished or stylish. You don't need brand new clothes or salon-level grooming. What matters most is showing that you still care about yourself, the moment, and the people around you. Clean clothes, brushed teeth, neatly combed hair, or a tidy beard or shave are all small signals that say, I'm still here and I still care. Maintaining these routines also supports a sense of dignity. Taking care of your appearance is a quiet but powerful act of self-respect. It shows others and reminds yourself that age hasn't stolen your pride or your presence. That kind of energy draws people in. It creates warmth, not obligation. If physical or medical challenges make grooming difficult, there is no shame in asking for assistance. Many loved ones are more than willing to help if it means you can continue to feel confident and comfortable. Whether it's asking someone to help trim your nails, schedule a haircut, or assist with laundry, reaching out doesn't signal weakness. It reflects wisdom and the desire to stay engaged in life. And sometimes when grooming habits start to fall away, it's not just physical, it may be emotional. Feelings of isolation, depression, or low self-worth can quietly influence personal care. If that's the case, it's even more important to seek support, not just for hygiene, but for overall well-being. No matter your age, your presence matters. And when you show up, clean, cared for, and confident, others are more likely to show up for you too. It's a small effort with a big impact. When you show that you still value yourself and those around you, the world tends to respond with greater kindness, closeness, and care. Number 7, overstepping boundaries with younger generations. As we grow older, one of the most challenging changes to navigate is how quickly social expectations evolve and how easily we can unintentionally cross boundaries. A comment that once got a laugh decades ago might now be met with uncomfortable silence. Remarks about someone's appearance, clothing, or personal life, no matter how well-intentioned, can come across as intrusive or inappropriate. This isn't about people being overly sensitive or the need to tiptoe around every conversation. It's about understanding that the social environment your children and grandchildren live in is different. Respect, consent, and emotional awareness play a much larger role now, and what may have once seemed harmless can now land differently. Older adults often say, "Well, I'm from a different time," as a way to justify behavior that no longer fits. And while that's true for the person on the receiving end, it's not about the past. It's about how that moment feels in the present. For instance, teasing someone about their weight, looks, or lifestyle may have once felt playful, but now can hurt or embarrass them. Offering physical affection like a hug or kiss without checking first, even if it's a long-standing habit, can feel invasive rather than loving. Even comments on parenting choices, dating preferences, or personal beliefs may come off as criticism instead of caring advice. Often these actions aren't malicious. They're rooted in love, humor, or a desire to relate. But when someone walks away feeling dismissed or uncomfortable, the good intentions no longer matter. The effect becomes greater than the intent. So how can this be handled better? Through curiosity and thoughtfulness. Ask before assuming something is okay. Pause before making a joke. Let others initiate physical affection. These small acts of awareness show respect and create emotional safety. And when you do misstep, because it happens to everyone, the most meaningful thing you can say is, "I didn't realize that upset you. Thank you for telling me." Owning a mistake doesn't diminish your role, it deepens trust. Ultimately, boundaries aren't meant to push people away. They're a way of inviting you in, on their terms. When you honor them, it shows care, not distance. And that's a trait people remember far longer than any clever remark or story. Number 8, expecting special treatment due to age. Growing older is something to be honored, and it certainly calls for respect. But there's a difference between receiving respect and expecting privileges just because of your age. This sense of entitlement can creep in subtly, and while you might not notice it in yourself, those around you often do. It shows up in moments like cutting ahead in line with a firm, "I've earned this," or brushing off a younger person's perspective with, "You don't know anything. I've lived a lot longer." It can even show up in expectations, like assuming your children or grandchildren should call every week, or that you deserve an invitation to every family gathering without question. Yes, you are worthy of care, kindness, and recognition. But those things are strongest when they're rooted in mutual respect, not when they're demanded or delivered out of guilt. The problem with entitlement, even in small doses, is that it gradually closes people off. Loved ones may begin to feel obligated instead of joyful in their efforts to connect. Conversations start to feel transactional, visits become routine checkmarks, and relationships grow heavy with unspoken pressure. It's not that they don't care, it's that love feels like a task when every interaction comes with conditions or guilt. When age is used as a way to win arguments, dismiss feelings, or manipulate outcomes, your voice gets lost. The wisdom you've earned is overshadowed by the emotional burden others feel. That doesn't mean you should silence your needs or avoid honest conversations. But how those needs are expressed makes all the difference. A sincere request for help invites support. A demand, especially one layered with frustration, often pushes people away. Sharing your feelings honestly fosters connection. Using guilt to correct others only breeds quiet resentment. If you find yourself thinking, "After everything I've done, the least they can do is call," or "They owe me for all the sacrifices I made," pause for a moment. Reframe it. Try thinking, "I gave because I loved, not because I expected something back." That perspective doesn't diminish what you've done, it amplifies it. Choosing to show love and support without keeping score places you in a position of strength and grace. People respond far more deeply to generosity than obligation. Respect that is offered freely, not forced, becomes genuine and lasting. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop expecting special treatment based on age and begin treating others as equals, regardless of their years, relationships flourish. People want to spend time with you, not because they feel duty-bound, but because they genuinely enjoy your presence. Number 9, shutting down new ideas or refusing to reconsider beliefs. It becomes increasingly noticeable when someone continually signals that they're no longer open to new ideas, that they've already made up their mind about life, how things work, and what's right or wrong. Over time, this fixed mindset begins to form a quiet but firm barrier between them and others. There's no denying you've lived through extraordinary times, historic moments, personal triumphs, and difficult losses that younger generations may never fully understand. That kind of life experience deserves genuine admiration. But wisdom isn't the same as certainty, and lived experience doesn't mean there's nothing left to learn. Interestingly, resistance to new perspectives doesn't always come through outright arguments or raised voices. Often it's more subtle. It might appear in an eye roll, cutting someone off mid-thought, mumbling nonsense under your breath, or simply zoning out when a topic feels unfamiliar or challenges your current views. Over time, these responses send a message, especially to younger people. What you think doesn't matter here. And when someone feels shut down before they can fully express themselves, they often retreat, not because they lack thoughts or ideas, but because they no longer feel heard or respected in your presence. You don't have to agree with every new opinion that comes your way. In fact, healthy disagreement is normal, but showing a little curiosity can be transformative. Phrases like, "That's an interesting point of view," or "Can you explain what you mean?" invite conversation instead of closing it off. It's not about changing your beliefs instantly. It's about showing you're still open to learning, even now. One of the most limiting parts of aging isn't what happens to our bodies. It's what happens emotionally when we start to believe there's nothing more the world can teach us. Holding tightly to the idea that your way is the only way creates distance, not connection. In contrast, emotional flexibility, acknowledging you're still growing, builds closeness. When an older adult says, "I've been rethinking that lately," it earns far more respect than digging in your heels. That kind of openness reveals strength, not weakness. It shows a willingness to understand rather than dominate a conversation. So the next time someone brings up a perspective that unsettles or challenges you, try taking a moment. Listen without immediately defending your stance. Ask questions. Let them feel seen. Because true connection isn't built on proving you're right. It's built on being present, willing, and engaged. And in the end, relationships flourish when there's room for more than just your own voice. Number 10, using guilt to get loved ones to call or visit. It's natural to feel overlooked when the phone stays silent, visits grow infrequent, or holidays come and go without the same joy or involvement you remember. That kind of quiet can feel deeply personal. It may trigger feelings of sadness, loneliness, or even irritation. And without meaning to, that emotional pain can sometimes show up as guilt toward the people we care about. You might find yourself saying things like, "I guess I'm not that important anymore," or "I could disappear and no one would notice." Even a slightly sarcastic comment like, "Well, look who finally remembered me," can slip out. While those words might come from a real place of longing, to the person on the other end, they often feel like a trap, like there's no way to get it right. Guilt might get you a quick call or a brief visit, but it doesn't foster real connection. Instead, it creates a sense of pressure or emotional obligation. Over time, this makes people associate spending time with you with stress, not comfort, and that quietly encourages distance rather than closeness. That said, your emotions are completely valid. It's perfectly okay to miss someone, to wish they reached out more often. But there's a world of difference between honestly expressing your feelings and trying to force a response through guilt. A simple, heartfelt, "I really miss hearing from you," or "It always lifts my day when you check in," invites openness. It creates a safe emotional space where someone wants to reach out. Guilt, on the other hand, builds a wall. It's also important to consider what others may be going through. Many of the younger people in your life are likely juggling complex responsibilities: careers, parenting, financial stress, health concerns, and their own inner struggles. Their absence often isn't about a lack of care. It's about being stretched thin. And when they do find a moment to reach out, they're far more likely to do it when they know they'll be met with warmth instead of disappointment. One of the most powerful gifts you can offer those around you is emotional freedom. The space to connect because they want to, not because they feel obligated. When someone calls, instead of leading with a complaint, consider responding with genuine welcome. "It's so good to hear your voice." That one sentence goes a long way. Final thoughts. Now that we've explored these 10 common habits, take a quiet moment to reflect. Did any of them feel a bit familiar? Not in a way that causes embarrassment, but in a way that gently encourages introspection? The truth is, over time, we all develop certain behaviors. Some strengthen our relationships, while others unintentionally create distance between us and those we care about most. The encouraging part is this: it's never too late to grow. There's always room to shift, to soften, and to surprise the people in your life by showing them that, no matter your age, you're still open to learning. Which habit spoke to you the most? Is there something in yourself, or even in someone close to you, that came to mind? More importantly, what small step might you take to create more meaningful connections moving forward? This isn't about blaming or pointing fingers. It's about being intentional with how we show up for others. It's about becoming the kind of presence that draws people in, rather than pushes them away. Whether you're in your 50s, 70s, or beyond, you still hold the power to influence how people feel when they're around you. You still have time to become the person others are excited to see. Not out of obligation, but out of genuine affection. So choose curiosity, practice kindness, be the one who listens more than they speak, who offers a warm smile instead of criticism, who invites connection without using guilt. These are the qualities that leave a lasting impression. They shape a legacy far more meaningful than any advice or correction ever could. In the end, it's the little things, the tone, the patience, the grace that make all the difference. and you still have time to be that kind of difference in someone's life. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment below sharing one takeaway and how you'll apply it in your life. Your input matters and truly inspires us to keep going. If you found this video useful or meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support helps us continue producing content designed to inform, uplift, and connect. We're grateful you joined us and look forward to seeing you again soon in our next video. Until then, take care and keep growing with us.